Hello everyone, and welcome back to Steins Gate Zero. I'm G, and we have been talking to Kagari, and we have determined that she has some of Kurisu's memories, which is a problem. And now we're talking to Suzuha about it. Kagari has Kurisu Makise's memories. Suzuha didn't seem as surprised as I had expected. Maho and I asked her some more questions after that. About Victorchondria. About her research. Her answers were all over the place. Some things she knew, and some things she didn't. But some of the things she knew were things that only Maho and Kurisu would have known. In the end, instead of being overturned, my hypothesis came out even stronger. All the questions seemed to tire Kagari out, and with Denoji's permission, Ruko took her home. Maho completely refused to accept what I was saying, but did say before she left that she'd look into whether it was possible to transfer Amadeus' memory data into a human brain. And that night, I explained the situation to Suzuha. What do you mean Kagari has two personalities? No, that's not it. The proper word for multiple personalities is dissociative identity disorder. That's when additional personalities are created within the person themselves. It's like you're upset or uneasy about who you are, so you make another personality within yourself. Once in a while, there would be a case where someone would take the personality of a man or woman they admired, but usually it was a completely original one. That's not what's going on in Kagari's case. She doesn't have her personality. What she's got is, quite literally, only Kurisu's memories. It's possible that Kurisu's memories are mixed in with her own. Kagari's memories weren't overwritten. She still had them. They had mixed together. I see. With 2036's technology, that's certainly possible. And since Kagari's a time traveler from that year, it's a possibility. But she has her memories from when she was 10, right? If they put someone else's memories into her head, she should remember that, right? I think I remember her saying once in a while back, that she heard the voice of God. I'm not quite sure how that sentence was supposed to work. Her saying once in a while back then that she heard the voice of God. A hallucination. Possible that's a product of Kurisu's memories leaking out. Yeah. The future wasn't as peaceful as this era. There weren't enough people and there weren't enough supplies. Even if they did have memory transfer technology, it would have been a military secret. Can't imagine them using it on a civilian, especially a kid. Kagari was a war orphan. There's no chance it was used to cure her PTSD. That wouldn't explain why they'd want to transfer someone else's memories into her. That's right. Which means it's more likely that it was done during the time when she had no memories. Between 1998 and now. Even if it's possible in 2036, is it possible right now? Kurisu could do it. She'd done it all by herself to make the time leap machine, after all. The Kurisu Makise transferred her own memories to Kagari? Why would she do that? It's like something a mad scientist would do. There was no way. It was impossible. It had to be. There weren't many people as smart as Kurisu Makise. If she didn't do it, I couldn't imagine anyone else would. That's right. Getting ahead of myself. I agree. I might have been getting too attached to my own idea. There's no doubt that Kagari knows things only Kurisu could know. Maybe like Makise's soul became a ghost and possessed her? Don't even think of saying that around Hyajo. She'll laugh in your face. Got that right. In the end, I realized there was nothing I could do for Kagari but watch for a while to see how things went. We were just students, without any kind of specialized knowledge. No matter how much we debated, or what ideas we came up with, we wouldn't be able to find the answer easily. Come to think of it, Taru, what's Yuki up to? Well, she's busy with work every day, it looks like. What does she do again? Works at a cake bakery, I heard. Oh, wait. Nope. Works at a cake bakery, I heard. Said it's really good, and we should go check it out. That's right. That's a little far away, isn't it? That's why she'd be happy if you went, right? Get a grip, Dad. Alright, my bad. Wait, Ogreen, why are you asking anyway? Oh, no reason. I was just curious. That girl in the motorcycle suit. Could that have been Yuki Amane? Still hadn't convinced myself it wasn't her. If it was, she may be involved in some way with what was happening to Kagari. That attack only took place in the other world line. It hadn't happened in this one, so I had no way to tell. There was something else. If there was something she... Is there something going on with Mom? No, it's nothing. Still didn't have any proof. I'd have to just keep an eye on her. My priority right now was Kagari. What had happened during the time when she lost her memories. If I could find that out, I might be able to understand what was about to happen to us. Okay, I'm gonna get started. Ready? Yeah. Maho came to the lab again the next day. He was there to look at Kagari's memories. Kagari had volunteered to work with her. As of yesterday, my hypothesis was still just a hypothesis. And anytime she saw a hypothesis, she wanted to test it. Maybe that's just how scientists were. First, can you look at this? Maho held up a cell phone. There was a picture displayed on its screen. It was a corridor with white walls and clean white floors, and two people wearing white lab coats were walking down it. You know where this is? School? Which school? Mitochondria University. You know who this is, in front? Tony Brown. His nickname is JB because he does this weird little dance when he gets excited. And who's the girl? I don't know. Well? Pretty famous among us scientists. Kursu would definitely know her. Looks like even if Kagari does have Kursu's memories, she can't recall them all perfectly. That's how it had seemed yesterday, too. Maybe there's some things she can remember, and other things she can't. It doesn't mean we can say for sure that these are Kursu's memories yet. Anyone could find out about these two with a little research. Kagari, can I ask you some more questions? Okay. Last winter, Kursu and I went to see a movie. You and Kursu did? Is that surprising? Even we need a break sometimes. Normally all we do is work. It was surprising, actually. I hadn't thought they'd interacted outside of work. I was hitting a little wall in my research, so she just took me out. Said she just happened to have 2 tickets. That's just like how a man asks a girl on a date. Never was any good with that stuff. You know what the title of the movie was? Bob Weir's His and Her Foreboding? Maho gulped. That must have been the right answer. Is that a new movie? I've never heard of it. It's 20 years old. This was a revival showing. And Kagari had guessed it. She'd known the title of a movie that Kursu and Maho had gone to see together in private. And since it wasn't a major worldwide release, it wasn't something you could get with a lucky guess. But somebody could have witnessed it. Sure, but how would they know you were going to ask that question? Are you saying she memorized every tiny bit of information you could possibly ask about? It would be impossible, and she didn't have a reason to bother anyway. It's not like I don't know that. I could tell from the pained expression on her face that Maho was struggling with something. And I was starting to realize what it was. She didn't want to admit it. She didn't want to admit it was possible. It was winter, but Kagari's forehead was dripping with sweat again. Going through her confused memories must have been putting a lot of stress on her. That's enough. This looks like it's hard on Kagari. Wait, just let me ask one more question. Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Kagari nodded and motioned for her to go ahead. What was your greatest treasure when you were a kid? When I was a kid? Even after you moved to America, you always kept it in your room. A stuffed dolphin. Dad bought it for me when we went to the aquarium. Maho sighed and sunk onto the sofa. Is she right? Yep. Kursu's mom told me about it on the phone last night. The only people who knew about that were Kursu and her parents. Then... I hate to admit it, but this hypothesis of yours, I can't rule it out. I see. What's going to happen to me? I didn't have an answer. I didn't even know how this had happened in the first place. The only possibility I could think of was... Kagari, sorry to make you go through all this.
Get some rest.
Maho stood up with a serious expression on her face. You're leaving?
Yeah, there's still some things I can check on my own. Okay, see you later.
Maho got up and went for the door without bothering to look back. She seemed to be silently shutting out the entire world. All we could do was watch her go. Maho Hiajo stared at her computer monitor in a daze. The rest of the world was still feeling the afterglow of New Year's excitement. The last time she'd come to Japan, it was still in the heat of the summer. She'd used her vacation days to come then. Her coworker, Kursumakise, had suddenly died, and she wanted to see the place where she was murdered herself. Maho's feelings for Kursumakise were complicated. Until Kurusu would come to her lab, Maho had thought herself a genius. She'd graduated high school after skipping grades, and joined a university lab while still in her teens. It was understandable that she'd feel that way. Everyone else said she was a genius too. But her pride was shattered into tiny little pieces by the arrival of Kursumakise. Kursumakise was the real thing. Maho didn't even come close to her. She had realized that she could never be as smart as Kursu. And she realized that she didn't want to be beaten by her anyway. It would have been so much easier if she could have hated her. It would have been so much easier to hate Kursu. But Kursumakise wouldn't even allow her that much. She was a dedicated scientist, and that dedication carried over her treatment of Maho, too.
Maho, I think your research has the potential to change the world. If there's anything I can do to help, I will. Just say the word.
Someday, she swore, she'd surpass her. Someday, she swore, she'd make Kurisu say that she was the smarter one. But now that would never happen. Kursumakise went away on a trip and never came back. Maho had been told that she'd been attacked by a robber and killed. That didn't seem real. It felt like she'd come back to the lab any day now, and start arguing with the professors with that same self-satisfied smirk on her face. Until then, Maho would work on the Amadeus project, so that when Kurisu came back, she would be amazed. Amadeus, an artificial intelligence that could be loaded with an individual's memories. It was possible to digitize memories by analyzing the nerve signals relating to the memories stored in the temporal lobe. It had been Kurisu, of course, who'd proved it. And then Maho and her team had turned that proof into usable technology. By the time Kurisu got back, she would have it all ready for the next level. To show it to Kurisu and astonish her. But even that hope didn't last long. She was suddenly told that the project was cancelled. Of course, she couldn't accept it. But no matter what she said, no matter how many times she argued with the professor, she couldn't get the cancellation overturned. Amadeus went to sleep at the bottom of the lab server, along with Kursumakise's digitized memories. Kursumakise's memories. Now they were in the head of another girl. How had that happened? There was only one possibility, if it was possible at all. It's like Rintaro Okabe had said. Oh? She opened the door and a large man she knew very well came inside. Maho, what's wrong? I thought you were still on your New Year's holiday.
What about you, Professor? What are you doing here on your day off?
Maho's mentor, Dr. Leskinen, was here in Japan for a month-long conference on artificial intelligence. Maho had come with him as his assistant. But the conference didn't take place every day. They spent the time between sessions at the Japanese office, making presentation materials and exchanging emails. In my case, I don't have much to do on my days off. It's no fun sitting in the hotel, so I may as well come here and work.
And I guess I'm the same.
For a researcher, doing research was a hobby. If nothing else, all the scientists Maho knew were like that. Of course, she'd come here today because she'd assumed Dr. Leskin would feel that way. You have a lot of things to do, don't you? Dating, for instance.
Professor, if you keep that up, I'm going to sue you for sexual harassment.
Oh, anything but that. Dr. Leskinen slumped his shoulders in the unique way that Caucasians always overreacted. He seemed intent on bringing Maho and Okabe together. He and Okabe were both friends of Kursu's, and so they talked a lot. There was nothing more to it than that. At least, that's what she thought. Probably.
Alright, in lieu of an apology, can I ask you something?
Anything, if it will keep me out of court.
Alright. What's going on with Amadeus right now?
He You should know the answer to that. Right now, there's no plans to continue the project.
I know that. I'm asking is, what happened to the Amadeus data?
It's saved on the lab server, right?
Nobody else accessed it or took it out?
Leskman's eyes narrowed, and he slowly shook his head. Maho, I don't know where you got that idea, but Amadeus's access is limited to only a few people, and as far as I know, no one else has touched it. If nothing else, I haven't received any reports about it.
And the same goes for my and Cursu Memories data?
Of course.
And is it possible that there's some other AI project going on that I don't know about?
Of course not. You're the most important member of our research team. We've lost Cursu. It was a big loss, but I think you're the only one who can take her place. There's no way I'd start a new project without you knowing, right?
I see.
Compliment felt like a bit too much for her to take at face value. There were a lot of scientists who were always looking to get a leg up on the competition. If someone else got the glory first, everything you worked on until that point would be useless. Even in the same team, there were only a few people you could really trust. But to Maho, Dr. Leskinen was one of those people. Will that do for an answer?
Yes.
Then may I ask you something? Where did this come from, all of a sudden?
Well,
You worried that someone might have access to your secrets.
yeah, something like that.
And you don't need to worry. Amadeus was developed so as to not share any secrets the original wouldn't want shared. The same goes for the saved data. Even if someone did steal it, the parts the original person wants to keep secret the most are kept within a black box. They can't be accessed via Amadeus or from the memory data itself. Those secrets get out, it's because a living human wants them too.
A living human.
That's right, original person themselves, in other words. Well, feel better.
Yeah, I guess so.
It wasn't that she didn't trust Dr. Leskinen. She couldn't relax until she'd seen for herself that no one had taken the data. Maho only thought it was possible to believe something after you'd seen it yourself. That's how she thought a scientist should be. Right now, she didn't have the access rights to do so. So in the end, she was stuck with her doubts. She knew this was going to happen, but she couldn't stop herself from asking anyway.
Oh, I didn't expect to see you two here.
Dr. Reyes walked through the door just as she finished her conversation with the professor.
Bryce, don't you two know that it's a holiday? What about you, Dr. Reyes? I've got nothing to do in my hotel.
Mao exchanged a glance with Dr. Leskinen, then shrugged. That's just how scientists were.
What? What? What's going on? It's nothing.
She and Dr. Leskinen laughed at Reyes' confusion, but the doubts in her mind lingered. Kursu's memories were inside Kaguri's head. Several days had passed since I'd begun to suspect my hypothesis was correct.
I'm sorry, Ocarine. Caused a lot of trouble for you.
No, it's nothing really, and I think Ruko and Mayuri are doing a lot more for you than me. In fact, Mayuri and Ruko were doing a very good job of taking care of her. Mayuri may not have realized it, but Kaguri looked up to her as a mother figure. And after living under the same roof for so long, Ruko had come to care for her a lot.
That's not true. All I'm doing is giving her someone to talk to. Maybe she's sorry that she can't do more, you know? No, that's not true. Because being really nice, just having mommy around makes me happy.
Mayuri fidgeted in embarrassment when she heard the word mommy. I could understand why. It must feel strange to be called mommy at her age, especially by someone who was older than she was.
Hey, mommy. What is it? Can I give you a hug? A hug? Can I give you a hug like you always used to do for me when I was little? I'm blushing. can't? No, go ahead.
Mary smiled and nodded, and Kagari gave her a big hug with a huge grin on her face.
Kagari, you're such a good girl. Eh?
Mary never asked for details, but she seemed to sense what was happening to Kagari. She probably understood that this was the best thing she could do right now.
Mommy.
It was strange. Kagari was a lot older. When they were like this, they really did mother and child.
Thank you, Mommy.
Kagari slowly moved away from Mayuri. She looked a lot calmer than she had a moment ago. It was probably okay to talk to her now. So Kagari, how are you doing?
How am I doing? I guess I don't know.
You don't know?
Sometimes I find myself remembering things, but I don't know if they're Kursu's memories or my own. Complicated formulas, experiments. I don't understand them, but I know them.
Kagari's only memories were of her time as a child, and the time since Zuko's father's friend had found her. Kursu's memories would appear sometimes and fill the gap in between. I couldn't even imagine how that must have felt.
Just a while ago I remembered Daddy. It was when Daddy told me I did good when I was little. I remembered that, and it made me really happy. My parents died when I was a baby, and then Mommy Mayuri raised me. I don't know who my dad is. Even though it wasn't my own experience, I really felt happy when he praised me. And that just made my head feel all funny.
Kagari grimaced and held her head in her hands. First time I'd met her, I'd been surprised by how much she looked like Kursu. But talking to her like this, I realized how different she was. The way her expression was constantly changing, and the way she always slightly overreacted, was actually more like Mayuri. Is that because they were mother and child? So, Kursu's memories come out often?
Yeah, a lot more than they used to, maybe.
I see.
Yo, Green, what's going to happen to Kagari?
Normally, the best thing we could do is get her looked at by a team of specialists. But given her position, something happened. I apologize.
I don't really want an exam. That was all I did when I was little.
Yeah?
Yep, they said it was to treat my PTSD.
So she didn't seem eager to be looked at either, huh? More of Kursu's memories woke up. What would happen to her? Would she be Kagari Shina, with the memories of Kursu Makise? Or would she become Kursu Makise? A person's personality was more than just the sum of their memories. But memories were an important part of it. Once she had Kursu's memories, what would happen to her? At this point, no one knew. It was quite possible that up until now, no one had ever shared a person's memories before.
Oh, Mayuri, it's time. You're right. Hey, Green, can you take care of Kagari? We've got a meeting at school about our post-graduation plans, and we have to go. Sorry.
Don't apologize, and don't worry, I'll take her home.
Thank you. Okay, Kagari, see you tomorrow. Bye, Mommy. See you tomorrow.
Once Maya and Duko were gone, it was just me and Kagari in the room. After the problems with Kagari's memories started coming up, I'd been having her hold off on her job at the Round Tube Workshop. But I was still having her come here as much as possible during the day in case something happened. Suzuha and Tanoji were downstairs. That alone made me feel better. I suddenly felt Kagari looking at me. What's wrong?
I just realized how strange it is to be talking with you like this, Ocarine.
Strange? Why?
Because to me, you were always just this person I heard stories about.
Stories?
Yep, Uncle Daru and Mommy would tell me about you.
That's right. According to Suzuha, I was going to die in 2025, which meant that in Kagari's time I was no longer alive.
Mommy talked about you all the time. Ocarine saved your mommy. Ocarine is Mommy Tikoboshi.
He still talks like that in the future. Now it was my turn to be embarrassed.
So I always wondered who this Ocarine person was that my mom cared so much about. Who was this Rintaro Okabe that everyone talked about? Maybe I always admired you a little.
Stop teasing me.
You're blushing, Ocarine.
Kagari clearly had the upper hand here.
Oh, but that's probably true of Kurisumakise too.
Kurisu?
Yeah, Mommy and Uncle Daru used to talk about Kurisumakise all the time. He died so long ago. I wonder what kind of person could have had that much influence on things.
What did Mayuri say about her?
He said she was the person you loved.
Person I loved. For me, that was an undeniable truth. That wasn't true for the rest of the lab. In this world line, Mayuri had never met Kurisu, and tried as much as possible to avoid bringing her up. But thanks to me, even in the future, she'd still feel that way. Oh, I know. I'm going shopping. Want to come with me?
Shopping?
Yeah. You still don't know this area well, do you?
Can I?
Of course. After what happened in the last world line, it was probably a good idea to keep her from going outside too much. But she probably needed a change of pace. It was still afternoon. As long as we stuck to busy streets, we'd probably be fine.
Yay! There's actually a lot of things I've been wanting.
Things?
Just some basic necessities.
Isn't Ruko getting you those things?
Yeah, but he's a boy, right? So I didn't want to ask him for too much.
True, even if he was beautiful, Ruko was a guy. There were some things he just wouldn't understand. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Wow, this really is amazing.
Kaguri's eyes were shining as she looked up and down the street.
There's so many people in so many stores. It's hard to believe it's the same Akihabara.
What's Akihabara like in the future?
Best way to describe it is... pile of rubble. Well, that goes for more than just Akihabara, though.
Zuha had said that the Third World War would start soon, which meant that a young Kaguri would have only known the world after that horrible war. Of course, that was all my fault. Probably. If I did what Suzuha wanted and went back to July 28th, would the world line change so that the Third World War never happened? Impossible. The world lines were going to converge no matter what I did.
Oh, Ocarine, are you telling yourself that it's your fault?
I gasped. She'd read my mind.
I guess so. You can't think that. Nope. As far as I know, nobody, not Mommy or Uncle Daru, blamed you. Because they all believed that you'd do it someday. What was it? Steins Gate? They believed you'd lead us there.
I knew Kaguri was trying to make me feel better. And that Mayuri and Daru would probably never blame me. Those words just made it worse. Because I'd given up on everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Huh?
Didn't mean to make you feel bad.
I must have had a pretty dark look on my face. No, I'm the one who should apologize. But I'm not.
Stop! We're not here to talk about that today. I don't get a chance to go outside often, so let's talk about something more fun, okay?
Yeah. Kaguri's mind was probably filled with memories of a painful war. If nothing else, those were her only memories as Kaguri Shina. But she was still trying to make me feel better. Even if they weren't related by blood, she really was Mayuri's daughter. Still, it was hard to come up with something that was more fun to talk about.
Oh, I know. I want to hear about what Mommy was like when she was young.
Mayuri?
I mean, I know she's still young right now. When she was younger, like when she was a hostage.
Mayuri told you about that.
Yeah, I love the look on her face when she talks about you. It's like she's softly opening the lid of a treasure chest, maybe. Her face, her voice. Just remembering it makes me feel warm.
To Kaguri, Mayuri must have felt like a star shining in a world of darkness and mud. A star shining brighter than anything else in the night sky. It was nothing, really. Her grandmother died and Mayuri really loved her. She looked so sad, like she was going to disappear any minute now. And then I said something really silly.
You're my hostage, right?
Hearing it from another person made me so embarrassed that I wanted to go hide. I was young. Folly of youth, you know?
Those words saved Mommy, didn't they?
I don't know. those words meant that I was holding her back, even all the way into the future.
Green?
Hey, you hungry? Let's go get something to eat.
Huh? Oh yeah.
Started walking ahead in an effort to change the subject. Kaguri seemed hesitant as she tried to keep up. Is there anything you want to eat?
Anything's fine.
It's always the answer that makes things the hardest, you know?
Everything's in this era tastes so good, it's amazing.
What'd you eat in the future?
Mostly yams and stuff. Mommy would flavor them differently every day.
Larry cooked?
Yep.
Was her cooking, well, good?
Yep.
I see. Human animal was capable of growth, it seemed. Well, Yuki had been teaching her a lot lately. Maybe that had paid off.
So everything's fine, really.
Alright then.
Welcome back, Meowster! Oh, Green and Kaguri too!
I chosen to stop by Make Queen Yan Yan, and it was packed. It's busy today.
Yeah, that's right. We just started an anime tie-in campaign, yeah.
Come to think of it, there was a sign out front with some anime characters on it. I'd seen those characters all over town.
So the place is packed, yeah. If you're willing to wait 30 minutes, I can see you.
We'll take a rain check then, okay?
Yeah, let's come back someday when it's a little slower. My apologies, guys.
We left Make Queen Yan Yan and walked around for a bit. But it was lunchtime and every place we saw was crowded.
Wow, there's people everywhere.
That's right. Should all just eat at home instead of going outside.
Uh-huh. But that goes for us too, doesn't it?
Now then, what to do?
Do we at the lab?
Just so you know, I can't cook.
Me neither.
And that was out of the question.
Doesn't have to be anything complicated. I always want to try that one thing. You know, the noodles you put hot water on?
Instant noodles? You sure that's what you want?
In the future, a lot of factories go away, so it's a lot harder to get. Uncle Daru was always talking about how he wanted some, so I wondered what they taste like.
She was okay with that, so was I. And I had just the thing. Bought a lot of instant noodles at the local convenience store. If there were any left, Daru would probably eat them.
Wow, I didn't know there were so many different types of instant noodles.
Unlike the future, there's all kinds of different ones now. Convenience stores get new stuff almost every week.
You're right, so I can pick any of these?
I already looked inside the plastic bag I was holding. Of course, take your favorite.
Alright, which should I pick then?
She looked just like a child the way she put her finger to her lips as her eyes shone.
I'll have this one, salt flavor.
Take 2 or 3 if you want.
Really? Oh, but if I eat too many, I'll get fat.
She had so many different expressions that I never got tired of watching them.
Hey, didn't you also get something else when we were there?
Yep, this. I took something plastic out of the bag.
Is this?
A fork. I thought it might be hard to eat with chopsticks. You can keep it and leave it in the lab.
Is that really okay?
It's nothing special, really. Chris would always want her own fork. I knew this didn't make up for anything. I just wanted to do it.
Yay, thank you. Honestly, I'm not very good with chopsticks. Oh, he always lectured me about it. Oh, it's got a bunny at the end. How cute. Hey, my own fork. This means I own 2 things now.
The other must have been the keychain that Mayuri gave her.
I don't know why, but feels like I've always wanted this. This be one of Kurisu's memories?
I don't really know.
Yo, Green, you were in love with Kurisu, weren't you?
What? Ah! I almost choked at the unexpected change in the direction of the conversation.
Are you okay?
Where did that come from?
Because that's what it means when someone is important to you, right? So is it true? You love her?
She seemed genuinely interested. I guess she was the right age for that. Well, it's true that meeting her changed my life.
Change the subject, no fair. I like the idea of someone being so important to you that they change your life.
It changed everything, past and future.
Oh, Green, what kind of person do you think she was?
Are you interested?
I want to know more about the person who owns these memories inside my head.
You still have her memories even if I don't tell you, right?
I can't force myself to remember them. Sometimes they just come out in fragments. It's all really complicated stuff. I want to know more about what kind of person she was, you know?
Kagari had never actually met Kurisu, had she? She was sharing the memories of someone she'd never met. It would make sense if she wanted to know more about her. Kurisu Makise, was a very curious girl.
I see.
She was stubborn. If she thought she was right, she would never back down, no matter what.
I see.
She was arrogant and strong-willed, also really lonely. The memories of all the conversations I had with Kurisu, and everything I'd gone through with her, came flooding back into my mind. I'd talked to her here just like this once before, come to think of it. Not in this world line, though. And she was scary when she got mad.
Scary? How?
She'd say stuff like, "I'll cut open your skull and jam an electrode into your hippocampus." And then for some reason, she ran a few steps forward and spun around. And then...
You keep talking like that, and I'll cut open your skull and jam an electrode into your hippocampus. Should I cut open your skull and jam an electrode into your hippocampus right now?
Kurisu.
Was it like that? Oh, Cream?
Oh, no. Memories of Kurisu inside Kagari. They could be perfectly replicated inside Kagari's head. Would Kagari Shina become Kurisu Makise? It was a stupid idea. Personality and memories were different things. Even so, if her memories turned into Kurisu's completely, that happened.
Green?
Huh? Kagari wandered back up to me and put her weight against me. It was so sudden I caught my breath. I could feel her warmth on my chest. The feeling of her skin. It reminded me of Kurisu. Kurisu.
Ah.
Sound of her pained moan brought me back to reality. What's wrong, Kagari?
My head.
Your head hurts? Kagari's body twitched in my arms.
No. I don't want to go back. Save me. Someone get me out of here.
What's wrong, Kagari?
Save me, Mommy. Why won't you save me? Mommy! Mommy!
Calm down, Kagari! I grabbed her hands to keep her from struggling anymore. People on the street were staring at me, but I didn't have time to think about it. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, Green?
You walk. Let's get back to the lab. It finally calmed down, but seemed to be still in pain. I let her lean on my shoulder as I took her back to the lab. And I think that this is a pretty good place to cut it. Things are deepening in a very odd way. Especially Okabe's feelings on it. It's just not where I expected them to go. It's a very interesting take on it. But overall, I think this is a pretty good place to cut it. We shall see where the whole Kagari having Kurisu's memories thing goes next time. But for now, thank you all so much for following my playthrough of Steins Gate 0, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.